just say Ibrahim is working in an office or Musa is working in an office, I should also work in an office.
What you are saying is factual. It's the truth. Gambians shouldn't be ashamed of doing any job, but the mentality.
Hello, respected viewers and followers of Jungle Online TV. You're watching Jungle Online TV, and I am your host, Hadi Jalo. It's your program, The Convo. Today, we decided to leave the studio and came all the way to Latrikunda. With me, I have a guest, a young poet, a very, very, very great young poet for that matter. He is really doing great. I'll just allow him to introduce himself, then we get into the program proper. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. My name is Musa A.C. Soho, known as the logical intellect poet inspired by wisdom. I'm a current graduate. I'm currently working on a project.
We all had that, so we will get to the bottom of that. He said he is working on a project, but we will slowly get to the bottom of that. Musa, as a poet, we want to know how you started everything. Like, you just wake up one day and decided to be a poet. How did it come about?
Okay, Musa as a young poet, before I became a poet, I was inspired by spoken word poets, and I was inspired by preachers like Muhammad Hoblu, Zakir Naik, people like Mufti Menka as well. But when we come to the spoken word poetry, the people who I was inspired by were Navid Muhammad, Muslim Bilal, and the list goes on. So basically, I see these people, doing poetry, and I was inspired by them. I love what they do, so from there, I built a passion to also work on the trend to becoming a poet and a spoken word artist as well.
How does it feel to be in the poetry world, like in the poetry field? How does it feel?
It's an amazing feeling because it allows you to be, open-minded. Also, it makes you to learn more and know more because poetry requires researches. We understand that we have quack poets who use AI to write poets. But when we talk about real poets, there are people who always make researches and try their level best to make sure that whatever they are to say, it is backed by clear reason. That is why the name even came, the logical intellect poet inspired by wisdom.
It's amazing. So talking about the people that inspired you, we have great poets in the Gambia. So seeing you inspired by other people outside the Gambia, why not the people in Gambia themselves, like the poets in Gambia themselves?
Yeah. If I said a point in the Gambia has never inspired me, I would have lied. But then, at first, before I even knew about poetry in the Gambia, like I didn't even know like poetry was going on in the Gambia. In fact, I was exposed to poetry through media. So through making researches and getting to learn from these poets, I realized that there were poets like Umar Champion, Chevnogay, the list goes on. So I would say Umar Champion, after becoming a poet and then making researches on Gambian poets, Umar Champion also inspired me in the way in which he crafted his work, his voice, his melody, his tone, his mood, in the way and manner he recites a poem was amazing and it captivated me as well. So I wouldn't discredit the Gambian poets, but before I knew poetry outside, before I knew Gambia has, poets here. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, talking of Omar Champion Cham, do you think he has made an impact in the Gambia poetry as he being a poet? Do you think he has really made an impact in the Gambia poetry?
Yeah, like Umar Champion has made an impact in the Gambian poetry. Today, most of the poets know poetry because of Umar Champion Cham. I can attest to that there are big names in the poetry industry who are being coached by Umar Champion. And I think he has done a lot for the poetry industry, though currently he's working on other ambitions, but he's a great guy and he has done a lot of great things and inspired many people as well. Yeah.
Okay, Omar, you're doing well. Continue. Okay, coming back to you, like you have a list of poems, but in everything you do, you always have something that is always your favorite. So how many poems did you write so far? Let me ask that first.
My whole poems?
Yeah.
I actually cannot give you a number because I do write poems and I store them on my phone, but yeah, like I can say, I'm not lucky with phones. I've lost more than 4 phones. Okay, yeah, I lost more than 4 phones. Like 3 of them were stolen. The other one I just lost it like that. So I do write on my phone. Like I can write like 20 or more than that on my phone. At the end of the day, it will be lost. So like there were certain times when I said I'm gonna just write without mastering. Then after I'm gonna try and master all of them. So that was something unfortunate. My phone was stolen, and at the end of the day, I couldn't have access to those poems. But I can say I write more than 100 poems since I started writing poetry.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your way of writing? everyone has a way of writing. Some people write when they are angry. Some has access to write when they are happy. Some have the mode of writing when they are lonely. So, which is yours?
Mine is lonely and when I'm sad. That's the time I find inspiration to write poetry. Yeah, that's the time I find inspiration to write poetry because I understand that in poetry we have three genres of poetry: lyrical, dramatic, and narrative poetry. So, two sad moments I do write lyrical poetry. Sometimes when I'm inspired by people and I see certain stories, I do write about narrative poetry and also about dramatic poetry. I haven't tried it yet, but then inshallah in my poetry album, Gambia is time to change. Dramatic poetry is going to be displayed there, surely.
We will surely come to the album because the name itself, Gambia, is time to change. It's catchy and you need to talk a lot about that. But then also, what impact, you as a poet, what impact has you done in the poetry field in the Gambia?
Yeah, I would say I have done impact in one way or the other. Through poetry, I have been able to connect with people. Through poetry, I have been able to inspire and impact in certain people. Like I can say, at first nobody knew me, but I can say right now I'm having like more than 1,000 contacts because of poetry. Yeah. So it shows you how powerful poetry is. Because of poetry, I have known hundreds of people. So I believe that I have inspired people to, which lead them to reach out to me and, some ask for my mentorship. Some show appreciation, some show love, some can even dash me cash and just said like, I just love your poetry.
If they dash you, dash me.
All right, anyway. So you see, so because of poetry, all this was able to be possible. So poetry is a powerful tool that we can use to change the world. Poetry is a powerful tool that we can use to also destroy many things, do many bad things through poetry. Because even God talks about poetry in the Quran, how dangerous it is. For there are some poets who use their tongue to deceive, and for there are some who use it for righteousness. So be careful of what you say and how you say what you say.
Which is yours?
Yeah.
Which one of them is yours?
For me, my poetry, I base it on societal morals, values. I base it on trying to encourage people, trying to uplift people as well, trying to lighten the truth out of darkness. So when you listen to all my poems, you realize it's about society, it's about justice, it's about humanity, it's about values, it's about morality. So this is my genre of poetry, which I base my poetry on. Though many people ask me, the logical intellect poet, why I haven't, heard you reciting a love poem. I just say, poetry. I'm not saying love poem is something bad or anything like that, but then my style and my way of doing poetry is, just trying to inspire and impact in a positive way. That's why, because of the demand of me not writing about love poems, I wrote one love poem about a love unveiled, logical love for her. But then in that poem, you will realize that logical is not in love with a human being. Yeah, so I'm not gonna.
I am curious. What is logical in love with?
I'm not gonna get into detail with that, but come on the June 27, you're gonna realize it, and yeah.
So according to logical poet, he's maybe love is not on his side right now, but we will get to know. Okay, logical poet, coming to your album launching, which you name Gambia is time to change. Why? Why the name Gambia is time to change?
Okay, as a youth and as a citizen of this country, I feel a burden on my shoulder. And I think it is high time as poets to perform our responsibilities, as citizens of this country to perform our responsibilities. What can we do for our country? Though we don't have the cash to give out to people who are suffering in this country because of the actions of our leaders, but God has given us a talent and a voice. So I feel like I can pay the people back and contribute to my nation through my voice and my poetry. So I come up with this idea, why not Gambia is time to change? Because when you look at Gambia, the corruption is too much, the nepotism, the favoritism, the scandals, the kickbacks here and there, like it's too much. And compare Gambia then and now, the robbery is too much, the killing, the stealing. All these things are as a result of bad leadership. All these things are as a result of negligence. All these things are as a result of incompetence. So I feel we need change as Gambians. And how can we advocate for change or make change to happen if we don't talk about it? The best way to solve a problem is to know the problem and talk about the problem. So as to, brainstorm ideas to how to solve it. So basically, the poetry album was inspired by my love for my country, and how I see the country moving is not favorable. The pillars of our nation is shaking, they're crumbling, so we need a voice to make them stand firm. So that is why I came up with this poetry album, Gambia. It's time to change from the government to the people. You know, we ought to change because the government has its own flaws and we as people we have our own flaws. So I think it's high time we advocate for change because only change can we realize the great potentials of this great nation called the Smiling Coast, but no longer smiling until and unless change is realized. Then and only will Gambia smile again.
So in a poem, describe Gambia for us. In a poem.
Yeah, in a poem. I would say Gambia is a nation broken beyond repair. Right now, Gambia is a nation whereby corruption is normalized, is tolerized as well. Gambia is a nation where our leaders mismanage the funds. Gambia is a nation that is humble, kind, its people loving. But because of few people, it has led for Gambia's suffering. Because of few people, many people have gone to the back way and they have died because of Gambia's condition. Do you think if Gambia was proud and happy, Gambia was cool and everything was all right, will our brothers and sisters who have lost their lives in the perilous journey, will they have died? No. It is because of the conditions they found themselves within. So I think it is important that Gambia realize its potential, that Gambia, you can move away from this. You can be great. You got the potential, but then, only then and only, if change is realized, if change is advocated for, and if change is put into actions.
But then I want to make something clear, because you made mention from the government to the people. There is a miscommunication people normally have, like, it is all in the government. But we as people, as great citizens of a country, you should have your country at heart. Like, I mean, when I say the government is not doing its part, but the youths have to work towards this. Because mostly if you enter in our markets and all over the place, what you see is foreign people occupying the places. And Gambians could have done that, don't you think? So you as a poet, you are not just focusing on the government. So it means you are teaching the government, you're talking about the government and also talking about its people, which is really, really interesting because normally we see some poems only focus on the government. But seeing someone who is here talking of the government and also talking of the people as well, because if the Gambia is good, if it is better, it's for all of us. It's not for only the government. Okay, so at some point I saw some comments of people being like, yo, you are just attacking the government and something like that. So on scenarios like that, how do you feel and what do you have to tell those people? Like, you are not against the government, you just want a better Gambia. But maybe people are miscommunicating it, seeing you as someone fighting the government while you are not actually fighting the government, because you have your country at heart. That is why you are there to maybe talk. You are being heard, so the government will know this is what is lacking, this is what is lacking, because the government is inside. Maybe the government is somewhere, they cannot know everything. So when youths are out and being talking about it, like you as a point, you're talking about the corruption, talking about the scandal and mismanagement of resources. When you talk about that, when the government listens to that, they will get to know. So I want you to make it clear to people that you are not here to fight the government, but instead you are here to communicate to the government through poetry.
I would say Gambia is time to change. It's not, and then me criticizing the government doesn't mean I'm anti-government or stuff like that. It's just I'm anti-corruption, I'm anti-mismanagement of public funds, I'm anti the kickbacks that they receive, I'm anti the spillage of our wealth while the people are suffering. Adam Ababa is a cool guy, but then I believe he's surrounded by people who are so corrupt that he has fit to their box. Yeah. So he is complicit. Because he also has done a lot of corrupt things, and I think it's time for Gambia to change. And the reason why I even come up with this is to, tell the government that this is how we feel. And we are not afraid to speak our mind. Exactly. We are not afraid to raise our voices. Change and see whether we will talk.
It's democracy now.
Yeah, because that is what they said. Yeah. For me, I believe in theocracy than democracy. Because I believe too much freedom will lead people astray. Yeah, sure. Like a lot of people in Europe, they are astray. A lot of people in America, they are astray. Lesbianism, transgender, stuff like that. Even a father can marry her daughter. Those are ideologies that are satanic ideologies. So I believe the government needs to change its ways. The only way we as people who love this country can rally behind them is if they change their approach and fight corruption. Not instead corruption breaking in out and then there is somebody who blow the whistle. At the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. Push the investigation is not furthering as expected. And as a leader, it is your responsibility to look after your people. It is your responsibility that the nation wealth that is entrusted on you, to make sure that it is well managed. But how can you see millions of dollars squandered, millions of dollars stolen, and then you just keep quiet like a mumu? When you asked us for your vote, you didn't keep quiet. You raised your voice and even try to mock certain people. So why is it that when we entrusted you with something and then you are responsible for that, that ends up not going the way it is supposed to go, you keep quiet? It is a disrespect to Gambian people. It is a disrespect to everybody who loves this country. So I feel like the government should change its approach in the way it leads. I'm not being an anti-government, instead I'm being a pro-change. And through change, we can realize our potentials. So, and then coming to your other question about Gambia, I believe Gambians, we need to change. Though Gambians are prideful, I would say, because there are certain jobs we don't want to do it because of the way we live. That's how we grow up. People will start mocking you, calling you, you understand, stuff like that. That will tend of like discourage you. I believe Gambians need somebody to encourage them, somebody to motivate them. And I think poetry is playing a part in that role. So if Gambians are motivated, you will see Gambians doing the marketing, you will see Gambians taking the push and pushing. You get the point? But then we are not motivated. Okay, we are not encouraged. Our government is not creating jobs as well. But then one thing about us is we always complain. We don't talk to the street like the Europeans do. They let their leaders resign because they fail their promises. Why can't we do the same? All we know how to do is just to tap our keyboards on the media, saying all we can. But are we taking actions? No, we are not taking actions. And I think it's high time Gambians take action, that this government must take us seriously.
Yeah, sure.
Because Gambians have taken him seriously to entrust him with the position.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is undone and unjust for the government to, see the flaws. At the end of the day, just keep quiet and watch us suffer just like that. It's disrespectful to the people. So I think Gambians need to change, the government needs to change, but it all lies in the government hands. 2026, let us not repeat the same mistake.
No way.
If the government want to convince us, let them combat corruption. Let them combat mismanagement. Let them combat the thousands of people that are employed, the ghost employees, okay? They are paid monies. At the end of the day, they are not doing their job. Let the government bring reforms on anti-corruption bills. Let the government reform the public institution. Let the government reform each and every system that was built by the imperialist colonialists who have mentally enslaved us. Because today, Africa, we believe everything African is not cool, because everything European, so that shows we are still mentally enslaved. Leaders like Ibrahim Traoré should be an inspiration to Adama Barrow. Within 3 years, he has done what no president of Africa has ever done. Currently, right now. All they know how to do is to...
And the funniest part of it is, like, when an African leader is trying to maybe control its natural resources, they term them as dictators or corrupt leaders, while those people are there to fight for Africa. Because how can you call a country independent while you have foreign affairs, foreign people interfering in our affairs, like what you should do with your people, how you should control your funds, what you should do and what you should not do. It's still under neo-colonialism. It's still as if you're not independent as a country. And when we call for independence, we as African leaders must stand to see that no foreign country should invade in our business. So
that is an important point. And I think every Gambian, every African should embrace Pan-Africanism. It is the only way forward for Africa to be finally liberated. That is why I wrote poems about Yahya and Bakari Kebaji. But people say I'm doing politics. People say I'm trying to get attention. If I want attention, I can write poems that will give me attention. But I'm just writing it. I have got attention, but then, it is not for the attention as well. So I write poems about them because I want to enlighten that, this belief these people have can move this country forward, can liberate us finally. Because how can you comprehend this, that France, every francophone country, money, their wealth is in France. Before they could, approve of any big money to be spent on any project, it has to be approved by the French government. So how do you call that independent? We are so much dependent that we feel comfortable with that. And that is a danger to Africa's sovereignty. That is a danger to Africa's independence. That is why, since I know myself, I've never gone to the independence studio, because I believe we are not independent until and unless we are mentally okay. Then and only will we thrive towards a path where all Africans will enjoy the fruits of what God has given them. So what I'm trying to say here is leadership needs to shift their mind. African leaders need to embrace Pan-Africanism so as to fight neocolonialism, so as to fight imperialism, so as to liberate the African people, because we are not liberated. And then imagine there was a protest organized, I think on the 30th of May, to celebrate Ibrahim Traore. The government rejected. Can you imagine? Because this government is so much controlled that it does not do anything it feels like doing without the approval of outside forces. That shows you that the broken contract cannot be fixed until change is realized. So this is all I got to say, that if the government wants our approval, let the government change. And if so, let him step down. I think that is the most honorable thing to do.
You also really watch out for the logical point, because, I am already inspired with what you just said. Like, this is showing that you are not just doing poetry to be known, but you are also doing poetry to address issues affecting people, affecting the government, and what and all it has to do, which is really amazing. But then I would like to buttress on something you said, that is the work of the Gambians, like being ashamed to walk in a particular place. What I want to say is, like, you should not be ashamed of what you're working. Since you are earning clean money from it, it is normal to do. Don't just say Ibrahim is working in an office or Musa is working in an office, I should also work in an office. Maybe some people working in an office, you as an apprentice, you are earning more than them. So let us embrace and also realize not all of us are gifted with the same thing. Like, you are being a president does not make me a president. You being a rich man doesn't make you a rich man. But then let me just be content with what I have. Contentment is really good. Like, this is what you are designed to do. A carpenter, a house worker, or whatsoever. Since you are earning clean money from it, adore it. No,
I'll come on that. One thing is, what you are saying is factual. It's the truth. Gambians shouldn't be ashamed of doing any job. But the mentality.
Exactly.
Until and unless that mentality is changed, then and only will Gambia realize their potential to work on any field they feel comfortable with. Or even if they don't feel comfortable, let them just do it. That fate has it this way. Today, people where Elon Musk wasn't rich yesterday. But today, before he became rich, there were hundreds of billionaires who were richer than him. But today, he came and outpowered all of them. I can say the power Elon Musk have, some presidents do not even have it. That shows you that success is about time. It's about patience. It's about steadfastness. So until and unless the mentality is changed, then not only will Gambia embrace what they have. But without that, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
Left to me, we will have been here till tomorrow morning, because it is really interesting. But then the time is on our next. So can you just recite maybe one of your favorite poets for the viewers? Yeah.
Okay, one of my favorite poems, I don't even know which one to choose as my favorite poem. But since we've been talking about the government here, I will give you a little a cappella about the government. Yeah, just a portion of it, then I will give you my favorite piece as well. So this is from the album, okay? To the government, I say, awake your consciousness. For your people are drowning deep down. Sadness grips our hearts. Anger feels through, running through our veins like the flowing of blood. And yet you ignore our struggles, our cries for relief, offering no healing, dealing in vain, deepening in our grief. You see, the Gambian people suffer. Their patience worn thin, hunger, nouns at our soul, and yet you let corruption win like bereavers winning of our Gambian youths. Some tore like peace, yet paid unjustly. Others wake with empty pocket with no socket to charge their pocket, for this government is a rocket that destroys hope and dreams. Leaving the poor to suffer in silent screams. Loud we mime in songs of grief. Okay, let me stop here. This is just an acapella just to awaken the government of how we feel, and this is how we feel that they should work more to improve the life of the Gambian people. And back to my favorite piece is titled Yahya Jammeh. Okay? It's titled Yahya Jammeh, and I have another one called Bakari Kebaja. I have another one called The Science of the Wind Chain. But since The Science of the Wind Chain is about hope, let me give you that one, okay? Hardships upon hardship, how do we have outlived? We have faced countless hurdles, but seems to be losing hope. The iniquitous devil, so strong and weak, but never seems to be losing hope. So why us? You see, this life is never and ever gonna be easy. So you better be ready to embattle the battle in order to chattle, wobble the devil, and tackle the obstacles like a real man in a real battle. For one day, your life shall be tested. Your patience shall be immusulated by your Lord. And the devil shall try everything to subjugate your faith just to see you down, breaking into pieces. But everything lies within the will of the majestic being, who neither begot nor was he begotten, for he is the everlasting one. So let the wind change the spirit into meekness. It is high time we go high with morality and ethical values, as the world is going higher to accomplish highly so as to reach at the highest dreams of mankind. The science of the wind change. Hadi, this battle, we in battle. In order to chattle, we must wobble the devil and tackle the obstacles like a real man in a real battle. Your poet, the logical intellect inspired by wisdom. June 27, the album at Abuko School Hall. Don't wait to be told. And sponsors are invited for the event as well. So thank you for the invitation. I'm honored.
My people, we all had that. It was really amazing. To get more of this, come out 27th of June, Abuko School Hall. Don't miss it. These are the kind of people we need. This is Gambia. And when we see Gambian youths coming up with great initiatives, we need to support them because the Gambia is for us. And when we prepare these people to go outside and stand for the Gambia, we are doing it for us. So calling out on everybody to please help this youth here. He is really good and he is really doing great. So let's come out in large numbers and support them. They need our support, Gambians. As he said, sponsors are all invited. To all the individual Samaritans and philanthropists, please help out this guy here. The logical poet is really doing a lot, a whole lot. Okay, viewers, we will end the program here till we come your way again. Bye-bye.